Sit!
Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
He's Garret Price.
Hey, how's it going?
Jared Wackerly's still here somehow, some way.
I'm here.
Yeah, he came for the wings, apparently. We talked about South. We started to talk about fried chicken afterwards. Now we are committed to go get chicken wings after this.
Yep.
And I'm a dry rub guy.
Okay. Nice.
Lemon pepper, my favorite.
But
But the place we're going to go to is a secret rub sauce, and I'm a big fan. I'm a dry rub guy.
Matt's a good rub guy.
Yeah.
What?
He's not just Sean Watson.
If I was, it wouldn't be a dry rub. That just hurts, man.
It's true.
Depends on the grip, I guess. Anyways,
Does that mean you're
Just don't.
okay? All right.
Yeah, that's something you just got to leave out
just
there,
let it
bro.
go. Okay, all right.
Come on, man.
hot sauce second favorite.
There's
Not,
just
not a
Jesus.
big chicken parm.
There's
guy,
just
or,
some things you don't talk about in
some
public.
Jesus Christ, man! There's just some things you don't talk about in public. My
Sorry.
cousin Walter once,
Mallrats. And if you know, you know.
30 years ago, last week. Anyways, first team on the book. We got wings to eat. No time to pussyfoot around.
No.
Garrett.
I always have time to pussyfoot around.
Yeah, we all know. Go back to the old Twitter days. We are starting out with the Houston Texans at quarterback, C.J. Stroud. Quarterback 2, Davis Mills. Running back, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Woody Marks, and Damian Pierce. Receiver, Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, kind of Tank Dell, Jayden Higgins, Jalen Noel.
Tank Dell isn't playing.
Poor guy.
Ever again. Tight end, Dalton Schultz, Brevin Jordan, Cade Stover. So if you've listened to this show, obviously you have your quarterback 1 here at 23 is C.J. Stroud. We have all kind of agreed like he's a big tier down quarterback for us, right? Like his ADP right now, which is ADP right around like QB6 overall in that range, really doesn't match his overall production. Now, in the Nerd Herd ADP, we have seen him drop down some. So it's a little bit different because like the Nerd Herd does a lot of our ADP and mock drafts. So we have seen him drop down. Compared to other ADP, he does sit
still
a
in
lot
that
higher.
6 to 8 range.
And for me, CJ Stroud immediately just falls in the category. Can I tear down for JJ McCarthy plus a first? Because that'd be amazing if I can get that. Brock Purdy plus literally anything. It could be a firm handshake, a sandwich. I'm in. A real grilled cheese, Garrett, with nothing but cheese and bread, I would take as well.
You can't even put butter on it, man. It's not grilled cheese anymore.
Butter is acceptable. You need butter. Come on, don't get out of here. Don't get out of here.
Butter?
Get out of here.
I'm just asking.
You're a communist.
asking.
Move to China or North Korea. So CJ Stroud is, listen, NFL quarterback, very good. He's a very good quarterback. From a fantasy standpoint, when you don't offer the rushing yards that CJ doesn't bring to the table, then it really does hurt it. Now, being at 23, he can 100% grow into being, a 4,800-yard passing quarterback with 35 touchdowns and really turn the page. But right now, he just has not done that, right? He's got Nico Collins, an elite wide receiver. They're bringing 2 very exciting receivers in Jayden Higgins and Jalen Noel. And, I know pre-draft, I actually like Jalen Noel more than Jayden Higgins.
Correct,
But,
I did as well.
Jayden Higgins, I like as well. So I really like the core of receivers that he has with Nico, Higgins, and Noel there. But for me, the ADP is just not matched the production at this standpoint. And if you can get there, if that's the case, I'd just rather chase higher upside or more consistency a guy like Brock Purdy. Garrett, you haven't been here for 11 years. How do you feel about CJ Stroud?
He called me Garrett.
That's a favorite. Right there.
Yeah, I mean,
Oldie but a goodie right there.
I mean, I think your guys' analysis of trying to tear down from him is a good angle to take because of the upside you could get with McCarthy, who's still unproven, and that's just baked into their ADP right now. So I think from a floor standpoint, you're probably going to get similar production as to what you're going to get from Stroud. So no, I think you guys are on point there, and you kind of sold me on that because I remember being a little higher than you guys on Stroud. But over time, I have come around on that. Well, how would you feel about tearing down the Kyler? I know he wasn't mentioned. Kyler Murray.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally fine.
If I can get a plus on top, definitely like a first for Kyler Murray.
And last year, I mean, his numbers went down as far as his finish. He went from quarterback 11 to quarterback 18, and his attempts went up. I mean, he had like an extra 30-something attempts. It's not a ton, but
it shouldn't go the wrong way.
It shouldn't go the opposite way, right? So he threw a lot more interceptions this past season, 12 versus 5 in his rookie season. So I think we see this, and I think we see it a lot. I don't know that we recognize it a lot, is rookies that come into the NFL nowadays are much more ready to play in the NFL. And they also have the advantage of there's not as much film out there of what you're not good at the NFL level. But a lot of the times you'll see a regression type of year in year 2 for a lot of these quarterbacks. So this is going to be, I think, a big year to gauge what we have in CJ Stroud. If he comes back and he looks good and is doing better now, and performs closer to that QB 11, I think that's what we can expect from him. You know what I mean? That kind of production. But if he doesn't, now we're looking at a guy that is going to be kind of a middling guy that I think his ADP is going to drop, as far as he'll fall into one of these guys that a Jared Goff type of guy that took forever to kind of dig out of that. And to at least some extent is still kind of digging out, even though his production far
his production's there. But
even though his production far exceeds
value.
that. But there's perceived value it went down quite a bit.
So I've done 21 of the 32 teams so far, projections wise. There's 3 teams that I've done where I don't project one quarterback to start all year. And so that's the Giants, the Browns, and the Colts that I've done so far. So there's those three teams. But of the rest of the teams, I actually only have 2 quarterbacks that I project with a lower points per game than CJ Stroud, and that's Geno Smith and Cam Ward. Right now, I only have him projected at about 14.2 points per game, which would actually be a little bit of a step up from what he did last year. But the hard part is I have his passing numbers as pretty solid overall. But this team does still, with Joe Mixon, they're willing to run the ball a good amount. They brought Nick Chubb in. They added Woody Marks. Like, this team is going to be willing to run the football. And outside of Nico Collins, there's no proven assets on this team. So we'll have to see now. Could somebody step up? Could Christian Kirk step up? Absolutely. Could one of the rookies step up? Absolutely. But right now, it's just really, really hard to project him to have many more points because he's not one of these insane volume teams we're projecting him to throw 580, 600 times. We're looking more in the mid to low 500s. And then you tack on mediocre receiving options outside of one guy, and then a team that runs the ball a lot. It's not a recipe for success when you add in the lack of running attempts on his part.
Totally. Do you guys remember when Diggs went out last year?
It was like week 6 or 7.
Okay. Because he did okay at the beginning of the year. Like, he had a QB8 finish in week 1, a QB7 finish in week 4. But once you get past that week 4, it's 15, 14, 29, 26, 24, 18, 25. There was one finish at 11 in week 12, 25, 21, 17, 33, 31. So there aren't a lot of high-end finishes from last year that you could even really hang your hat on when Stephon Diggs wasn't there.
And he's one of those guys that need like 3 touchdown games to really be relevant.
Yeah, I think he's going to do okay, his number-wise. I think Jalen Noel or Jayden Higgins will emerge. One of them will emerge as a rise in dynasty community. Nico Collins, if you the Sharks are all out there saying that Nico Collins has a chance to finish as wide receiver 1 overall. Like, a lot of Sharks out there that I trust that put in the time, that I know do quality work. They believe that with Nico Collins. Obviously, we mentioned in last year, like T. Higgins, he's been suffering the same thing, like the soft tissue hamstring for the last couple of years. And that does worry me about Nico, right? Like, he's 26, so he's not old, but again, those hamstrings, the continued hamstring issues is one of those injuries that always worries me over the years. I've seen from watching football for, since I can remember, for 40 years. Like, it's one thing that always kind of comes back and like it pops up on the radar. And you mentioned them a ton of times, right, Matt? When, like, we see these guys do these hamstring injuries like week 1, week 2, and you're like, oh man, like, I'd be real hesitant about him going forward for the rest of the year of like what you can expect. Because what sucks as well is like that's something like he's starting the game 2 weeks later, 2 snaps in, he's out of the game because the hamstring flares.
And they're different, varieties
Agree.
of all that kind of stuff. Like an off season where you're missing meaningless practices in OTAs and stuff like that, and if they label it a hamstring, I'm not worried about that because that's nothing. But when guys are missing games for hamstrings, you know that's serious. You know that's something that's going to be easily re-aggravated, and those are the ones that really worry me. So, and obviously, to your point, he's had those real ones that are issues.
So for what it's worth on Nico, I have him right now projected so far. Like I said, there's a few teams I haven't done yet, but I have him projected as the number 3 receiver this season. So if healthy, I do. The only guys I have ranked higher as far as points per game are Jamar Chase, number 1, Malik Neighbors, number 2. So he has the chance with how many yards. I think the big thing for him is yards per route. He's up there in the mid 14. So when he makes a catch, their first down plus is like every time. So every catch is almost a big play for him, or yards per reception, I should say. So that's the thing for him. If he can continue to get in the end zone and he can continue to make the types of plays that we've seen him make in the past, it's really just health holding him back from being a truly elite player.
Yeah, he falls in
Totally agree. Yep.
my cup of like, I have 5 guys that I feel like these are the 5 guys I think could be the wide receiver ones. Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Justin Jefferson, and Drake London. Those are like Drake London's my sneaky guy to finish as wide receiver 1 overall. If I had to pick a guy, like if I had to do a video like you, pick a guy sneaky at number 1 overall. So Nico Collins is definitely in that mix. He's got to stay healthy, right? We need that consistability is what we need. And we saw, because like, you know, what did I even come up with the word consistability for? It all started to stem around Jamar Chase. All of a sudden I created a new word for consistability about Jamar Chase. He goes out and has one of the greatest fantasy receiving years of all time. So
Super
Nico Collins,
consistable.
we need some consistability. Boom, wide receiver 1 overall. At running backs, to bring in Nick Chubb, you know, we have no idea how his health will look. He's now going to be 2 years removed from that nasty injury he suffered in Pittsburgh where his knee went backwards. Thanks, Mika Fitzpatrick, for ruining my all-time favorite player's career. And Joe Mixon's banged up right now. But listen, Joe Mixon is still a value potentially out there if he's the guy. Garrett mentioned how much they run the football last year, and he's going to be 29 years old, but he's a running back. Last year, he finished overall as running back 13 overall, and that was despite getting hurt last year in week 2, where he only scored 8 points, and then he missed weeks 3 through 5, and he still finished as running back 13 overall. On a points per game basis.
17 for the full season, but whatever.
Yeah, well, weeks 1 through 17. I'm sorry, he was running back 13. On a points per game basis last year, he was running back 6 overall. Joe Mixon.
Pretty darn
Very
good.
viable in the passing game, very efficient in the running game, used in the red zone a lot as well. So for me, when you look at Joe Mixon, he's coming to his 5th season where he's going over 1,000 yards, where he's consistently being a running back 1.
Any worry with Woody Marks stealing some of the receiving game work, or maybe not for this year, but more long term?
Well, yeah, I don't even know if Joe Mixon's on the team after this year.
Sure.
Right? Like he's going to be a 30-year-old running back. They traded up for Woody Marks. Doesn't mean Woody Marks is a guy. I think this could be, and listen, all-time fantasy football running back, Joe Mixon.
He's been great.
For what his finishes as running back 1s and running back 2s. So hell of a run. He's 29 years old. More likely than not, this is going to be the last year of his deal. But again, he has been proficient. We don't know what the Nick Chubb edition means, the Woody Marks edition means, or the injury means.
They can get out from underneath his contract to save about $8 million against the cap, but his cap number doesn't go crazy from 1 year to the next. It's 9.4 this year, 10.5 next year. So he could very well just be on this roster again next year. Just so there is stability from a contract standpoint, at least. And they're not like up against it. They have $10 million, almost $11 million.
So it's
right
potential, and hopefully it doesn't. I mean, Joe Mixon was 12th in the league last year in targets. He saw a 9% target rate, so he's heavily involved in the passing game. So he does need that to thrive. You mentioned Houston's offense is a very balanced offense. I think their pass rate's 55% for Houston's offense. So it's a very balanced offense. But they did trade up for Woody Marks. We saw that. They did sign Nick Chubb. But that tells me more so like, hey, we are still going to rely on the run more than anything.
Sure.
We have no idea what Nick Chubb has left. If anybody's going to bring it back, it's going to be our guy, Nick Chubb. One of my favorite running backs of all time. Bless him. So overall, from a dynasty standpoint, CJ Stroud, as much as we say tiered down from CJ Stroud, I want to remind people, it does not mean we do not like CJ Stroud at all. It's just his ADP.
Yeah,
I
just
feel
overvalued.
I want him to be my QB2 if I'm a championship caliber team. And I've always said this from the get-go for CJ Stroud. His ADP was where it was because he's young. He's 23. He's going to be the long-term quarterback. So that does offer a lot of value, right? They have an insulated quarterback that's going to be on your roster for the next 10 years. But again, we're trying to win championships. So like I am going to shoot a little bit higher ceiling there. Tight ends, I'm not worried about any of those guys. Dalton Schultz or anybody. Nothing really.
Any chance Cade Stover takes over? That rhymed.
Dalton Schultz, he's got the second. This is crazy. I mean, before we get into that, he's the second highest against the cap on the team right now, which is insane. He's in. I mean, he has his contract runs through 2026, but they can get out after this year. So I think it would have to be a little bit of a miracle for Cade to take over this year. But I think this is kind of like the last year of relevance for Schultz.
C.J. Stroud's former tight end in college.
Yep,
correct.
Cade Stover. All right, let's move on to the Indianapolis. Oh, Jared.
We didn't mention Christian Kirk really at all. I mean, do you guys?
I mentioned him real quick as a guy that could break out this year.
Okay.
It's for 2025. It's really just hard to project who their wide receiver 2 is going to be. It could be Kirk, could be Jalen Noel, could be Higgins.
Yeah,
they're kind of just all up in the air right now, and the way I did the projections kind of show that as well.
I would think Kirk is probably the guy.
I always think the veterans are going to get the first crack, especially ones that have done it.
I know, but Higgins, you got to remember, Higgins was the 33rd pick in the draft, and he was the first second rounder to get a guaranteed contract. Like they're all in on Jayden Higgins.
But those, that's great. But if your head's swimming,
slot.
If your head's swimming a little bit early on in the season,
what's Kirk's contract?
They traded for him.
They did trade for him.
His contract runs through the end of this year. He's got a bunch of he's got 4 phony years on the back end of it, but he has he's going to be on this team no matter what.
Okay,
we've seen him do it.
He's got 4.8.
Yeah,
he's been solid before.
He's got $4.8 million against the cap, and his dead money is 14.3. But this is the last year of his deal, so he's going to be on the books here for the next. 4 years.
They clearly invest in Jalen Noel for the future in that slot.
So I think he's here to kind of be a patch for 1 year. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, Cabbage Patch Kids used to be a thing too. Indianapolis Colts are next on the list. At quarterback, they got Daniel Jones, used to be the president of his fan club, and then, things got real. Anthony Richardson, guy can't stay healthy, and he likes to take timeouts in games.
Consistability right here.
Offers none of that. Riley Leonard.
I wish he would take a timeout. If you're that, that's taking yourself out of the game. Take a timeout, make up an excuse, anything other than tap your helmet and go out of the game.
Please do anything else.
Sorry.
You said it right there when it happened, Matt. You're like, he is not the future of the Colts.
Jesus.
The moment he took his game, Matt said, didn't you say that?
Yes.
He's not the future of the Colts.
Yeah.
That was it right there.
You took yourself out of the league right there. There you
signed
go.
his death certificate right there. They drafted Riley Leonard, who's also is a Russian quarterback as well. So they got 3 Russian quarterbacks. Running back, we all know Jonathan Taylor. It's a Jonathan Taylor show. Elite running back 1. Khalil Herbert. And they drafted DJ Giddens. Wide receiver, interested in how this is going to play out. Michael Pittman is their 1. They have Adonai Mitchell, who they invested in. Josh Downs was a very efficient receiver when he was on the field last year. Again, all the Sharks are going to tell you to invest in Josh Downs this year in fantasy. They have Alec Pierce, former second-round pick as well. They re-signed Garrett's boy, Ashton Doolin. And they still have Anthony Gould
last pioneer
on the rolled roster.
He actually got a pretty okay deal.
He's a great special teams guy.
Yeah, he's making a couple $1 million, and he's really on there for the next couple of years.
Yeah, special teams.
Yeah,
like
for
Garrett
sure.
said.
Not fantasy relevant, but a pretty good
But
deal.
hey, for a Malone boy,
we'll
take it.
Exactly.
They invested a very high draft pick in Tyler Warren. They have Jelani Woods and Mo Alley Cox there as well. So, let's just start at quarterback. We can all kind of sit here and project that we can all expect Daniel Jones to be the starting quarterback, which is, somewhat exciting for me, thinking hey, this is a Shane Steichen offense. He likes to utilize the Russian of a quarterback as well, efficient offense. He's got some pretty solid weapons out there, if we're being honest. And Michael Pittman, Tyler Warren, and Josh Downs. And you want to throw in a deep threat like Alec Pierce. Daniel Jones you can argue Daniel Jones will have the best weapons he's ever played with as a starting quarterback
overall
in the NFL. Overall. And definitely having a running back. I obviously had Saquon Barkley, but Jonathan Taylor's not a bad offer there. So what do you guys think here about Daniel Jones? Is Is he a sneaky buy? I know, Matt, you had him on your sneaky buy list before Daniel Jones in this offense. Russian quarterback has to prove himself again here. The reason he went here, got a good deal, was for the opportunity to prove himself and why he left. Do you think 20-year-old Daniel Jones can reestablish himself as a super flex option?
Yeah, 28. I was going to say if he's 20, definitely 28.
Sorry.
No, I think this is he's there for 1 year. It's a 1 year deal. I think he went here specifically because he thought he could beat out Anthony Richardson if it was a fair fight, because he's a better quarterback. So, I mean, what was the question? Like, do I think he's going to reestablish himself?
Yes or no?
I have a hard time thinking either one of these guys is really the answer.
Well, I haven't got Anthony Richardson yet. I'm just going to focus on Daniel Jones.
I think he's their best option. I don't know that this is the place where he's going to reestablish himself. I don't know that he's reestablishable.
Yay or nay? Daniel Jones is a top 24 fantasy football quarterback in 2025. He offers the rushing
on points per game or total points.
Total points.
I just don't know that he's going to.
I'll get to you, cutie.
I don't think so because I don't think he's going to get the whole year. I don't know that he's going to either start or finish. I don't know that it's going to be every single game. I think there's going to be times when he struggles and they try Anthony Richardson, then they see Anthony Richardson is far and away worse, and then they go back to Daniel Jones. Like, it's going to be a mess there, in my opinion.
That's a nay. Garrett, you're a nay?
Same thing, games, I think. But on points per game, I would say I think he could on that. Because right now I actually haven't projected very similar range to Aaron Rodgers, who looks like he'll be right around like quarterback 21. I haven't projected in a very similar range on a points per game basis.
Jared, yay or nay?
That's so hard. I mean, it just depends on how many games he starts, like Matt said.
Well, yeah, obviously. But is it yay or nay?
Yeah, I think he's a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson. So I'm just gonna say yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a chance we see Riley Leonard.
He's QB 35,
and by design.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They see Daniel Jones isn't it. Then
I saw him in the national championship game.
Then they go to Anthony Richardson.
Not it.
Then they see Anthony Richardson's not the guy.
Richardson.
And then they just chalk up the season. You know what I mean? And they throw Leonard out there. And
Riley Leonard is like what Anthony Richardson is.
Correct.
They're like the same player.
correct.
Weaker arm.
Dude, I love Riley Leonard's mentality, but he can't throw the football.
Correct. He's Anthony Richardson.
I know.
He won't tap himself out, though.
They have
He'll run through a wall.
He'll puke on the field before he taps himself out.
Yeah, I respect it.
Yeah,
but
All right, second question.
all right.
Quicker this time. No, I don't need analysis. Why?
Did you ever tell me I live my life again?
Yay or nay? Did Anthony Richardson ever take a snap in the NFL as a starting quarterback that does not have to do because the guy in front of him got hurt? Matt, yay or nay?
No.
Garrett, yay or nay?
I mean,
I'm going to say yay because I think he starts the season.
yeah, I'm sorry. After this year or after this year?
I think
no.
Daniel Jones starts the season.
I think Daniel Jones starts the season, but I think he's going to be just okay, and they're going to look to make a move.
After the
I think it's
season, no.
gonna-
This season, yes.
Agreed
Garrett,
with what he said.
Jared,
No.
I say no. I don't think he ever takes a start. I don't. Outside of something going wrong, he never takes a start.
Weren't
snap
there
and start
people
over again.
saying to draft him over Bijan?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was excited about his upside. Listen, I mean, because the Josh Allen kind of effect got you in there. I'm like, oh, dude, he's going here. Shane Steichen, the offense fit him well. He had a really good offense.
That's the funniest part about the consistability thing was the player you were giving the consistability to was
Anthony Richardson.
I offer no consistability in this business. So look at Jonathan Taylor. He is what he is. We all expect him to be a running back one. So let's look at some of these receivers. Michael Pittman, only 27, kind of like has seen a big ADP drop, right? Because of last year, of how he's kind of fallen by the wayside. And it always shows you like the landscape of Dynasty changes so quickly. Because just the year before in 2023, he set career highs in receptions with 109 and receiving yards with 1,152. Then all of a sudden you throw him this hodgepodge of turd-ferg quarterback play of Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco. And he's also banged up a little bit last year as well. He battled some injuries.
He had a broken back. That's a little bit more than banged up, and he played through it, dude. So that was pretty crazy.
Never a big touchdown guy as well,
which is surprising. You would think that would be where he would really thrive.
You think he would? He just is not.
He just hasn't.
Rather
he
at
just
all.
Hasn't.
I think he's just So he caught 6 touchdowns in 2021, 4 touchdowns in the next 2 seasons. And then last season, he got to the end zone 3 times. That's it. So just not a red zone guy. Are you guys trying to buy, there's not a lot of true number one receivers in an offense that are 27, going to be 28 years old. Are you guys trying to buy the big dip? Not a little dip. This is big dipper. Dip on Michael Pittman right now?
I think Pittman does have a bounce back season, just because there's going to be a point when I think Daniel Jones is in there, and that's going to look okay, and he's not all banged up and injured, and he probably is their most talented wide receiver. I say that with a little bit of trepidation. I'm coming around on Josh Downs. I think I had some issues with what I perceived as effort issues or effort type of things coming into college. That has been washed away at this point. You know what I mean? There's none of that. Yeah, there's none of that has reared its ugly head in the NFL. They're very different guys. I think they can live together and both thrive and be good, and actually, be good together. So I don't know. I think Pittman has a bounce back year. I don't know that he's ever going to be a wide receiver 1 for fantasy. I think he's a guy that's.
I'm worried he's not ever going to be a wide receiver 2 again.
I think he's a guy that can. I think he's a guy that can live in low end wide receiver 2 numbers. I think that's where he's at.
I have projected this year. I have 120 targets for Josh Downs, 112 for Michael Pittman Jr. It's the hard part. There's just not a ton of pass attempts on this team that run the football a lot.
Yep.
So there's just not many to give everybody overall. So that's going to be part of the issue, especially adding Tyler Warren into the mix of things as well. But you factor into just the fact that surprisingly been low completion percentage traditionally to Michael Pittman Jr., not as high as you would think, whereas Josh Downs has actually been a very good contested catch guy. So numbers-wise, even though their targets I have very similar, Josh Downs I have projected higher total points because I think he's going to get in the end zone just as much, if not more, but he's also going to convert more of those opportunities than Michael Pittman Jr. So for me, if I'm going to invest in somebody, I'm going to invest in Josh Downs, partly because I think the production will be better, but 2, I think he's got less, he's more insulated than Michael Pittman. People already want to give up on Michael Pittman. If Josh Downs has a down season, they're going to say, well, it's freaking Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, and they're going to give him a pass. So, or he blossoms and does something good. So I don't think his value is going to dip much at all, but only has the potential to go up. And those are the players that really interest me.
You don't think that Michael Pittman's value could go up though?
I think it could, but I think it has just as likely of an opportunity to
disappear.
Be nothing.
Yeah, sure.
Would you pay a 2nd round pick for Michael Pittman?
If it was a late second, I think I'd consider it. Yeah.
Would you pay a 2nd?
I would.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't? Because I think what it would probably take to get him is like a 2nd, 3rd, or even possibly 2 seconds. What it would take.
I don't know that it would take 2 seconds.
I
have him.
2 seconds.
I have him. I don't know that it would take 2 seconds.
Okay. Yeah,
but I'd give 2 seconds for Josh Downs.
Oh, I'd give 2 seconds for Josh Downs too. I mean, he's seen at least 98 targets in both years so far in the league, and he's had some injuries there as well. I think he's a very
4-year age difference too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the big thing with Josh Downs though is like he's that player. I like Josh Downs a lot as well. I really do. But he's that one player that he's not even a sneaky guy at this point because like every analyst is like, ooh, who's your sneaky guy that could be like that wide receiver? Josh Downs comes out of everybody's mouth. So I think if you're like
he does, but the ADP hasn't caught up with that though.
Okay. I mean, he's probably been one of the most talked about receivers this summer.
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
So
anything on Alec Pierce before we move on? Guy, I mean, obviously he's a big play type of guy. Is there any world where it's Alec Pierce and Josh Downs? That's kind of the 1 and 2.
If Pittman gets hurt again, I think there's a chance he can emerge. I think Alec
I put
Pierce,
my money on Adonai Mitchell before Alec Pierce.
I would too. I think Alec Pierce is a very second. I think Alec Pierce is a good receiver. But he just fits the mold of like he's a really good receiver for an NFL team, not as much for your fantasy team. He's gonna be too much of a little bit of a roller coaster, right? Like
I mean, I totally agree. I don't like those
kind of like
players.
the Justin Watsons of the world, where like they make those big plays that are clutch moments, but like never results in like fantasy points.
Yeah, he does it 2 weeks in a row. They're like, do I got to start Alec Pierce? And he gets 1 target for like 0 receptions, something along those lines. So I like the player. I really do like the player. Former 2nd round pick out of Cincinnati. I think he's a very fine player who offered a lot of upside, but just never really evolved out of that like go
big
routes.
Play threat.
Yeah, deep post, things along those lines. So that from a dynasty standpoint, am I going to cut him off a roster? No, because there's still a chance where he's young enough, but like again, we've seen this movie a ton where this doesn't really come to fruition.
Correct.
All right, so before we move on to our next team, I got to tell you guys about our friends over at myffpc.com. If you are looking to expand that Dynasty portfolio, you log in that Dynasty GM and you're saying, hey, man, there's just not enough teams in here. They have the number 1 out of 12 ranking here. Like, I need more. Like, I'm too good at this. Like, I'm all tapped into Dynasty Nerds. Like, I'm using their tools. I'm using their podcasts. Like, I'm crushing it. But I just don't have enough people I know to get new Dynasty leagues. And I'm like real hesitant to join like a high stakes league with people I don't know because I don't want to invest the money and the future time for a league to, fall apart on me. My FFPC is going to give you that security and the variety that you're looking for, right? Whether it be, like Garret has mentioned, a $75 team because you're kind of like, hey, you found our podcast, you like it, you want to get in the Dynasty, but none of your friends want to, right? We always talk about like taking your game to the next level, right? To like, oh, I want to play in a high stakes league. Fine, that's for sure. But what about if you're like, you found our podcast, you just enjoy it, or you just got like heard about Dynasty and you're trying to figure it out, but like you can't convince the people that around you to play Dynasty. They just want to play in a keeper league or they want to play in a redraft league. You can hop in my FFPC team for $75, get your feet wet, try Superflex, play $150, try Superflex and a PPR league, see what you like more, and have that variety there, and then keep increasing your role. Because they offer leagues from $75 to $2,200 in all different formats. Standard, PPR, Superflex, Rotoviz, Triflex, Superflex, a lot of different options out there. And you have the security of knowing that league's not going anywhere. Since they have incorporated over 15 years ago, they have never had a league fold in a history of their existence. That's what you're paying for, right? Security and options to grow your portfolio. So check them out. Use that promo code NERDS. If you're a beginner, like I said, you join a $25 league or a $75 league, use the promo code NERDS, you're saving 33% right off the top at $25 off.
That's some good math.
Any money is free money. You want to go get a burger? Dude, $25, free burger on myffpc.com. You want to go check out a movie? Free movie on myffpc.com by using the promo code NERDS. Check them out. Expand that portfolio. Use the knowledge you have to actually put cash in your pocket. And that's what my FFPC is going to do. Use that promo code NERDS. Support our partners. Get that free money.
I'm just so hungry now.
Yeah, you want them wings.
Wings so bad.
Well, we also got to make sure we don't forget about our friends over at Fast Draft. If you've played Underdog, you know how exciting best ball can be. And they have so many different best ball opportunities over on Fast Draft. Their Origins tournament is almost completely filled up. That's where you're only drafting rookies. That's almost full, so you can get in there. But you can do the Rabbit, which is your more traditional type of best ball league. But they even have IDP leagues. They've got all kinds of stuff over there. But it's also a fairly new platform, so you don't have the sharks that you would have other places. This is an opportunity to get in while it's still new, while it's still early, and a lot of their tournaments are either very low rake or no rake. So you have a chance to profit off of them much more than you do other platforms. Head over there, use promo code NERDS. Not only are they going to deposit match up to $50, so that means your 50 turns into $100. We're going to give you a free year of the GM, which is the best freaking tool for Dynasty Fantasy Football that there has ever been. You get an extra podcast. You get the Nerd Score. You get our film room. You get all kinds of extra stuff there. So go over to Fast Draft. Use promo code NERDS. Get the free year. Get the free money. It's the best deal in the biz.
On down south to Jacksonville, we have quarterbacks Trevor Lawrence and Nick Mullins. At running back, we have Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, Bashal Tootin, and LaQuint Allen. Wide receivers, heavily invested, Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas, De'Ami Brown, Parker Washington, Joshua Cephas. Tight end, Brenton Strange, Johnny Munt, and Hunter Long. Starting the quarterback here, I've said many times with Garret too, like Trevor Lawrence has been one of my number one owned quarterbacks because like he's one of the few 24-year-old, 25-year-old quarterbacks that you actually go out and get, right? Sure. Like, do I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be quarterback 1 overall, top 3? I don't, but I do think he's a kind of guy that can live in that quarterback 11 to 13 range. And I mean, almost a la like a more mobile though, CJ Stroud, right? Like, and his ADP is so drastically different than CJ Stroud. And I view them pretty similar. So when I say go out there and get Trevor Lawrence, Again, it doesn't think because I think he's so good. It's completely
Because you're
opposite of
saving
Stroud.
10 spots in ADP.
Yeah,
And
and
he's QB 18 in ADP right now.
last year. Right now,
Right now,
ADP right now.
And what's Stroud, 8, 9?
Yeah, around there, 11.
11. Okay, but that's the nerds.
That's the
so
nerd, so he's gonna be higher in regular ADP.
No,
so
this is regular startup
Okay.
ADP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So for me, if I can get a guy who I feel is locked in as QB1 for like a 10-year quarterback, that goes slide in hopefully as my quarterback 2, right? That's what I'm really want to buy him as. Like I love that when like I can find those guys that can go and get. Which obviously now you add a guy like Travis Hunter, we're gonna really see now Trevor Lawrence with Liam Cohen, who's a pass quarterback guru head coach. So is again, name that so far. We're going to see if it really puts here to Trevor Lawrence. They invest an absolute fortune in Travis Hunter. They have Brian Thomas, who erupted on the scene as a top 6 fantasy receiver last year. Lawrence has never been in a better position career-wise, who's had nothing but rocky roads coaching, right? Like we mentioned, the Urban Meyer year doesn't even matter, right? Doesn't even matter. Don't even count that. So he's had such a rough go to start his career. He's still on to another coach this year. He's had, I think, a different offensive coordinator every single year of his career.
If not, it's pretty darn close.
So he's now going to get a chance to actually sit down and establish something there with some really good weapons. Trevor Lawrence's price will probably not get much lower as is now. So, yeah, I'm going to invest on that. Is it a gamble? Yes, but add in like a guy like Travis Hunter, who I think has the ability to be an elite wide receiver 1. Brian Thomas, has already shown his rookie year can be an elite wide receiver 1. You put 2 of those together, that automatically is going to help a guy like Trevor Lawrence, and he can move. So he does offer some rushing ability. A lot of unknown there at the running back room. Travis Etienne, obviously here for now, maybe probably not long term. Brenton Strange showed us a little bit something, former second-round pick last year in the game. He likes to utilize 10 ends. So for me, I don't know how you guys feel about Trevor Lawrence, but he's somebody that I've gone on my way to go get, mostly because of the price tag. And in Superflex leagues, anytime I get a guy like that who I feel very comfortable in my QB slot for a long term, that takes a load off of like, oh man, I got to worry about this in the future.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the ownership by making a move and going out get a guy like Cohen into the building as the head coach, I think they are showing their support for the quarterback, and obviously they went out of their way to get a guy like Travis Hunter after already kind of hitting the jackpot with Brian Thomas last year. So I do think Lawrence has some insulation beyond all the contract stuff that, obviously he's locked up till 2030 or something crazy like that. So I like Trevor Lawrence a lot. So I is he going to produce high end stuff? Probably not. And that you mentioned that as well. I don't think that's kind of what he is at this point. I feel like we kind of know what we know. But I do think there'll be years when he bounces into that like top 8, top 7 type of range once these guys all start clicking. You know what I mean? Brian Thomas is only in his second year, and obviously Travis Hunter is a rookie. Once those guys are a little bit more established, I think that's when Trevor Lawrence will really be able to kind of peak a little bit, and we'll get to see a little bit more out of Lawrence. So I think it's a nice time to buy, and if you have him as your QB2 in Superflex, I think you're doing pretty good.
This was one of the toughest teams for me to do projections on because, one, it's a new head coach coming in. It also a little bit different as far as like tempo and pass rate were a little different from kind of the previous regime and things like that. So it looks like they're probably going to run more plays and things like that than what we've seen in the past too. So it's going to be really interesting. Like this is, I think, one of the most boom outside of Brian Thomas. I think he's the exception to the rule, but the rest of the assets on this team are some of the most boom bust risk type players. Like look at Trevor Lawrence, you look at Travis Hunter, you look at Travis Etienne, Bayshall Tootin, Brenton Strange, like Bigsby. I mean, there's plenty of guys that have some pretty solid ceilings, but have like some dangerously low floors as well. So it's going to be one of the more interesting teams to kind of evaluate as the season goes on.
Yeah, it's like that Squid Game where you got to jump on that like
the glass.
The glass. One breaks, one stays solid. Like you don't know. Like
you really don't.
Oh man, I'm one closer to $1 billion. Or like, oh no.
You watch that too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we watched that too. That was
Season
good.
1, great. I haven't watched season 3, but we'll get there. But speaking of the run game,
pretty
though,
good.
and
I liked it.
I'm with you. I think one of my favorite buys right now as a contender, I think the bang for your buck, where everything's going against them, right? Tank Bigsby, Bayshall 2, and the biggest one. I think Travis Etienne is one of the best bang for your bucks buys at running back, right? Liam Cohen's already talked him up. Very viable in the passing game. When it comes to avoiding tackles, like he was one of the better running backs in the NFL when it comes to avoiding tackles last year as well. When we play in PPR leagues, I think Travis Etienne offers that upside. You bring a guy like Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas to kind of really help you take away from stacking the box, where you had to really kind of cover that. Maybe play some too high safety against them there. You have Brenton Strange in the middle. I think with the emergence of that, a lot of stuff can open up for some dumb ball passes in PPR leagues. I think we see Travis Etienne go over 50 receptions in 2025 and really be that sneaky guy who could finish as a running back 1. And we've seen him do it once. He finished as, I think, running back 3 a couple of years ago, 2 years ago.
In 2023.
So for me, I think Travis Etienne is that one guy that you kind of see that be sneaky. He's like, oh, wow, Travis Etienne, running back 11, running back 10. All coming down to his PPR, but I think he will live there. I have no problem if I can if I somehow can get Travis Etienne for a couple seconds as a contender, add to my running back depth of my room, who can even at some point, like if you have onto him, I wouldn't trade him away for that, because I think if he does produce at that level, running backs do go down. He's probably the kind of player that people are like, oh, I'll give you a first for Travis Etienne because he's performing so well, which I would sell at that point if I don't need him. But he is one of my favorite sneaky guys for 2025 when it comes to a value standpoint, because everybody's off of Travis Etienne right now, even though his contract's fully guaranteed. He's there. Liam Cohen has talked him up. It's because of the Bayshall Tutin, of Tank Bigsby, right? That offer, they've all pushed his value down pretty significantly.
I think if I got 2 seconds, I think I would trade Travis Etienne.
As a contender? You're a contender.
I think I would. I think I would rather take the 2 seconds and flip them into a James Conner or somebody like that I would trust a little bit more.
Okay.
In season, and I understand it. And he's definitely a player that I could see a path for him booming. But we already saw last year, and granted, a different regime, so who knows how Cohen's going to do it. But he kind of did the same thing with Bucky Irving or Rashad White. He used both guys. We even saw Sean Tucker involved in the mix at times. And so I could see that being just a mess this year where, right now, and that's kind of how I projected it. And maybe I'm seeing it incorrectly, but I have 160 attempts for Etienne, 125 for Tutin, 70 for Tank Bigsby. I think they're all involved. Some are more goal line specialists, some more passing game, some more, so we'll see. But to your point, if I could get him, if there's somebody really truly giving up on him, I'm definitely willing to take the risk. But I think if I could get 2 seconds, I think I would rather that into a player that I trust a little bit more.
And I think I'm not going to argue where Tank Bigsby won't be involved in the rushing game as well. The splits from there. Again, I think Travis Etienne wins this year, and where he has a chance to be the running back 1 is going to be in the PPR game and his receiving ability. Hence why I think he can go over 50 receptions in 2025. That's where I think he's going to live. I think Liam Cohen is going to utilize those 2 weapons, and I think he's going to scheme how to put the ball in Travis Etienne's hands. Because we can all agree, right? Get Travis Etienne in a little bit of space with the ball in his hands, that's where he is best.
Yep.
And I think Liam Cohen's going to see that as well. And I think he's going to make it happen for the 2025 season. And if I had to go, if we're going to do bold takes today, which obviously we're going to do this in about a month, one of my bold takes is Travis Etienne's going to be a running back 1 for the 2025 season.
And he is in the last year of his deal. So they don't have any reason not to just run the wheels off this guy.
Yeah.
So I do agree. He's just terribly inefficient. So I'm not sure how long that's going to last. He's only averaged, in the 3s, 3 yards per carry for the last 2 seasons. And really it was just that one season where he was above it. So I don't know. I'm not a guy running to go get Travis Etienne personally. Even on my contender teams, I'm real lukewarm on him. I know you're obviously, Rich, you're higher on him than I am.
Just on the pass, I think the scheme. I think he's going to be schemed in the passing game. Is literally my only reason why.
I think last year we saw Rashad White do a very similar type of thing, and he was okay and usable at times, but Bucky Irvin just started taking off, and everything kind of slanted his way. I could see something similar to that where they try it out early and they're like, all right, man, we're not getting what we really want out of this guy on the ground and in the air. Let's try one of these other guys to see and just give them little opportunities. And if they blossom, then they blossom. And if they don't, will kind of just muddle through this year.
To Travis Etienne's slight defense, even though I'm kind of off of him, he is the only back right now that I would feel confident saying could hypothetically do both, like be efficient on the ground and in the air. I don't love Tootin on the ground, but I love his pass catching and things like that through the air, getting him in space. I love Bigsby on the ground, but I don't trust him as a receiver. So like that's his prayer, is that they value somebody that can do a little bit of both, more so than a specialist, because I think Bigsby's better on the ground than Etienne. Tootin's probably better in the air than Etienne. How do they value a guy that can do both versus guys that are more specialists? We'll see.
Well, you guys are in trouble because I haven't busted out the crystal balls in a long time. And I just had this weird. You're talking, and I had this epiphany and vision. See, this is why you need to be here. You got to cue up the hotkeys. And it was
show me the money.
It was
hit them all.
Got him.
This one's long.
If we had if I envision our editor and our social media savant Peter Bertowski cutting up this clip in like week 10, playing like me saying, "Oh, remember we game? This was Rich back in July," and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, look at me." If not, delete it. Bury it.
This never happened.
No members we talked about in July, right?
I thought you were actually going to bust out the crystal balls. Do we know where they are?
Yeah, they're here.
Don't flap them on the table.
Haven't touched these. Wow, I haven't opened these crystal. If you're an old member of the show, you know. Well, we didn't even do video back then.
No, I don't even know.
Those are videos. We have if you want to know. We don't have
show
a crystal
one.
ball.
I mean, if you have two of them,
crystal balls.
Oh, wow.
Broke it.
There
We
it is.
have two balls.
Can I touch
Because
them?
our show only would have two crystal balls.
Of course.
I haven't touched these in a long time.
Matt, have you touched his balls in a while?
I've actually never touched those things.
That was like a year-long thing, the crystal balls.
Well, at least.
What does Rich's balls say?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was a good
What are
bit.
the balls telling
I feel
you?
like you should just hang those behind you on the wall or something.
Like from a rear view mirror
like a
kind of vibe.
Like a Roman soldier kind of thing?
I mean, maybe.
What? It's a Roman soldier.
Throw them over your shoulder.
Can you tie him in a knot? Can you tie him in a bow? All right. Last guy, like
Wings.
Brenton Strange. Are you guys excited about Brenton Strange? We've seen this offense utilize the tight end. We've seen a guy like Evan Ingram go over multiple years of 100 targets. Obviously, it was out the Travis Hunter, but we've seen in different coaching staff, of course, as well.
But Otten did well last year
Yeah.
when Evans and Godwin were out. So
He's like one of those sneaky tight ends that could be like living out range.
He had some good weeks when Ingram was out last year.
Yeah.
He definitely did. So I am excited. I think that's the reason they felt comfortable getting rid of Ingram. It's because of what they saw out of Brenton Strange last year.
it would not surprise me to see him, and this is going to sound negative, and it's not in any way. I could see him being in that no man's land of tight ends, of like tight end 8 to 14 type of range, where it's like, hey, these are good players. Do I trust any of them? Not necessarily, but they're all kind of the same guy, but they're still useful for fantasy. I could see him elevating to that range, which, like I said, doesn't sound great, but right now his ADP is what, like tight end 26 or something like that?
Tight end 23, yep.
Yep. So, I mean, that would be a nice bump, easily 10 spots for him to jump into that range.
Yeah, a player that like I have some shares of that I'm excited to see if he can carpe diem. And kind of enter that like for him to be relevant, he needs to enter that like tight end 7 to like 9 range to even be like worth being excited about.
Hey guys, we are super excited to announce that we have a show that we've been doing for a few months now called Roster Rescue. It's every Monday at noon, and sometimes we even do extra shows if we have a lot of roster rescues to do. But basically what it is, it's an opportunity for us to take a look at your guys' teams, your specific team, and say, hey, I think you should go into rebuild. Hey, I think you are a contending team. Hey, trade for this guy. Hey, maybe look to make this move. We get eyes and hands on your specific team. So if you want to do that, go ahead and head to the website, go under the store tab, and go down to Roster Rescue. Go there, use promo code RESCUE10, and you'll get 10% off. So head there today. It's a great opportunity for us to come rescue your rosters.
All right, last team, the Tennessee Titans. At quarterback, Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 draft class, who now has a very clear path to be the starter with Will Levis going on season-ending IR with the shoulder surgery. Brandon Allen.
I feel like that roadblock
too.
was like Chester Taylor in front of Adrian Peterson. Like,
Yeah.
we're not
Really
really
was.
that worried, but thanks for going out for the season anyway.
At running back, we have Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, Julius Chestnut. At wide receiver, we have Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, Van Jefferson, Treylon Burks, Alec Ale Manor, and Xavier Restrepo. At tight end, Chig Okonkwo, Josh Wiley, and Gunnar Helm, the rookie out of Texas. So at quarterback, we have a guy who really stepped his game up last year and looked really good on tape, real efficient, accurate, can push the ball downfield, and Cam Ward. Probably one of the least talked about number 1 overall picks at quarterback
For sure.
that I've ever seen. Just really completely bypassed. There's more Shadur Sanders talk, who's a 5th-round pick and 20th quarterback over Cam Ward.
Yeah, I think part of it is like normally the number 1 overall quarterback was like this huge name in college, and he just wasn't a huge college name. And he doesn't do anything flashy. Like there's not a lot of flashy plays, like highlight type plays. He's just good. He's just a good player.
Yeah, and what I really like with getting Cam Ward there is we did our show on the Upside Show. Was that just you and I here? And I said I wanted Calvin Ridley, and I was like, or Stephon Diggs, but I was like, my number 2 guy was Calvin Ridley. I want to go into Calvin Ridley, and I am really excited about Calvin Ridley. One of my favorite wide receiver buys this offseason for a contender team. Him and Stephon Diggs when it comes to value. I mean, this is a player. Even last year, he had a pretty good year. He led Tennessee in targets with 120 targets, despite all that terrible quarterback play out there. And with Cam Ward coming in, Cam Ward really thrives like in what Calvin really could do, right? Get downfield, get open, work on the sideline there. We could see his red zone targets come back, which they absolutely plummeted last year. And right now he's being valued at like outside of the top 36 receivers. Very savvy route runner, has a clear path to be the true number 1 there with a team that's probably going to struggle a little bit more on defense and be training a lot of games with now a much more accurate and efficient quarterback in Cam Ward. I think there's a chance that the 30-year-old can come in, even after last year, 64 catches, over 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns in his season in Tennessee, could come in and kind of supplant that and find his way into that wide receiver 2 role for 2025. And right now he's going for like wide receiver 4 value. 120 targets last year. They're bringing all these other guys here. We have no idea outside of Tyler Lockett what they could do here. I think the upgrade here is very apparent for a Calvin Ridley and a very good path to help somebody win a Dynasty championship this year in 2025.
I think it's a great, very short-term type of situation. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you look at his contract right now, he's here for this year no matter what. He's got a cap hit of $28 million, a dead cap hit of 40. But next year that kind of goes that evaporates. He counts $26 million against the cap, and there's only 13 mil of dead money. So they could actually gain 13 mil by getting rid of him next year. So this might be it for him, kind of depending on what they do in the offseason next year. And
he'll be supplanted.
If he gets supplanted by anyone. But I mean, obviously it's him and Lockett this year. I'm totally agree with you there.
And I think this kind of reminds me of like Amari Cooper's first year in Cleveland, where it's like, who else is going to catch the ball? Like it feels like a very savvy route runner, former Alabama player. There's a lot of parallels where it's just like he's got to because there's nobody else to do it.
And Amari finishes as a wide receiver 1.
And he finished as a wide receiver 1 that year. So I don't think that's too far out of the realm of possibility. It'll really come down to touchdowns. Like, does he get enough touchdowns to do it? Because I think the volume overall will probably be there. It's just whether or not he gets, kind of that some years you guys have 100 catches but 3 touchdowns. Other years they have 100 catches and they have 11 touchdowns. So
I think
where do touchdowns kind of finish out for you?
Well, I mean, historically, that's the thing though. Last year, historically, Calvin Ridley's been very good in the red zone. That's where he's made his bread and butter. Mm-hmm. If you go back in 2023, he had 25 red zone targets, first among all receivers in the NFL. And it fell just to 4 last year. So, and that's the reason Titans end up with the number 1 pick. So I understand the concern, but that's another reason why I'm in on Ridley, because they can push the ball downfield. He's very efficient in the red zone and getting open and seeing those targets. Again, only 2 years removed from being the number 1 receiver in red zone targets. So we'll see. I think Cam Ward is going to kind of help.
I think so too. He's a guy that sees the field really well, finds the open guy. So I think so too. But real quick, before we touch on anything else, is there a player outside of Cam Ward that we think is on this team that is fantasy relevant in 2026?
I'm interested in Alec Manor and what he could do. Like
you did like his tape. Yeah. I think the most out of all of us.
And you looked at Xavier Restrepo the time, who's this former player out there. So if I had to lean on a player, well, one, I think the Titans probably finish with another decent draft pick.
Yeah, they're a top 5 team.
They're probably one of those guys that grab an elite receiver, or maybe they're the team that trades for T. Higgins.
That would be the best case scenario. He's from Tennessee. Like that would be best case because this is a little bit of a weaker wide receiver class this year. So we'll see who emerges. But
potentially T. Higgins trade it makes a real smart move for them there. But I mean, anybody say confidently? No, but if I had to pick somebody, it'd be Alec Manor.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Gunnar Helm is on this team. He performed poorly at the combine due to like a pretty gruesome twisting of his ankle. Yeah. So like during the drill, but he was an okay player there. I would feel okay with Gunnar, having Gunnar Helm on my team
as an upside guy,
as just an upside guy.
He's a solid possession tight end.
I mean, he had some pretty decent stats.
Go up and get the football.
Yeah.
I do to some extent still like Xavier Restrepo, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Former teammate, already gotten some positive buzz. A lot of players have, but positive buzz in camp and stuff like that he's working his way up. I still haven't given up the dream on Tyjae Spears. I still like him as a player.
That's what I was going to. I want to hear.
100%.
I want to hear your take, Garrett, and your projections. Because I'm still in on Tyjae Spears too. I know everybody else is saying, Tony Pollard was pretty solid last year. He was efficient. I would lean towards Tyjae Spears. Like I still with you. Every time he gets the opportunity, he looks good.
It's funny because he reminds me of Tony Pollard in that sense, where it was like for years in Dallas, people were banging the table of like, Tony Pollard's good. Why doesn't he get more touches? And now he's the one blocking Tyjae Spears, where it feels like the exact same kind of scenario where it's like, I still think Tyjae Spears is a good player. Do I think he's a running back one? No, but I do think that he could be one of those types of guys like a Chase Brown, like those types of players where he can, he's great in the open field and can run some really good routes, make guys miss in the open field. Like go back to some of his Senior Bowl stuff that he was doing, just making guys look silly out there. So I think the raw talent is there. It's just lacking opportunity. And we saw the last couple games. What was it last year? It was last year where he finally got his chance because Pollard was down and he performed well. So I haven't given up on Spears. He's a favorite throw-in of mine on deals and stuff like that.
Matt, anything else on Tennessee?
No, I think those are the guys that I give a crap about. And Tyjae Spears is on my radar. That's about it.
Probably one of the lowest teams we'll talk about from a dynasty standpoint.
Probably
overall.
So.
Cam Ward, obviously the clear-cut number one here. Love Calvin Ridley for 2025, and Tyjae Spears is a nice upside running back. So we'll be back next week with 2 more divisions to break down. Who knows? Because Garrett's Google Sheets can be googly-moogly. So we'll be back next
week.
AFC
East and West.
Allegedly. We don't know. We don't know. We got to read those. So we'll be back next week talking more Dynasty Fantasy Football. If you enjoy the show, like we always ask, in the summertime, leave a rating and review where you can find us. We're on YouTube as well, where you put out a ton of content there.
So much.
And we don't say it enough. Check out the app. It's free in your app store to download to kind of see what it can do. And then if you want to join the Nerd Herd or you take advantage of that fast draft promotion, you'll be able to utilize it in all its glory. We'll see you next week, Nerd Herd.
Adios.